Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lane 1 Making Waves. I am extremely excited about this week's episode. On today, we have Brinkleigh and Karrington Hansen. Brinkleigh and Karrington are both swimmers down for Fred Lewis St. Petersburg Aquatics, which I am very biased towards because that is where I grew up swimming. Brinkleigh is just coming off her most recent success. She competed in her first 10K. Just so happens that it was the 10K National Open Water Championships that she won and is now getting to compete and represent Team USA at Worlds. Karrington just committed to swim at the University of Kentucky to continue her education and swimming career, so they both have such exciting things coming up for them. But more importantly, we talk about what it means to be a family in the sport and how their sister bond truly helps them excel. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you both for agreeing to meet with me today. I know it's Saturday. You guys just finished morning practice. You are in the middle of school. You have about 23 days left, and I know you said you have a little bit less. So a very, very busy time for both of you. So thank you for kind of setting aside a little bit of time to talk to me. To start us off, I'd love for both of you just to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about you and what got you interested in the sport of swimming.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Brinkleigh Hansen, and I think my sister got me into sport and like my parents just having like that bond and everyone, and it just kind of got me in it and got me excited.
Mhm.
And I'm Carrington Hansen, and I've obviously been around the pool my whole life. Both of my parents swam, so I was kind of always at North Shore and kind of just got into it. But my first coach is probably like what made me fall in love with swimming the most, and that was Coach Stephanie. She was the first like developmental coach I had when I joined the team, and obviously encouraged me throughout my ways and where I am today.
Yeah, no, fun fact, I remember being in the water when I was in high school and your mom would bring you guys around the pool deck and you were babies. And so you were teeny tiny. And so it's kind of like a full circle moment seeing you guys all grown up and pursuing your own path. So it's really, really fun for me to be the one to talk to you guys today. Growing up as sisters and as athletes, how has your relationship kind of evolved over the years? I know I was kind of the same way, Brinkley, when my sister started swimming. That's what got me into swimming. I wanted to do everything she did. She taught me how to brush my teeth. So how has that relationship kind of evolved over the years?
Just like she kind of was like the first person that got me to do like my first 500, and like she always tried things before me, and she's like, "This was kind of fun. Like you should try this." And so then as we've gotten older, we're both like, "Okay, let's try this together." And like so we've always just kind of she started it or we do it together for the first time. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're really close, like obviously as friends, sisters, and teammates, but we're only 16 months apart. So again, we do everything together. Like I started distance before she did, but now she's kind of taking over. So I'll let her have that. But um open water was kind of the new thing that we started last year, and that was something that like we would only do together and none of us were gonna do it without the other person. So it's good to have somebody like when we're trying new things and as we're
Yeah. No,
figuring
I mean, that's incredible. I know. I'll probably talk about my sister a lot just because I feel like we had such a similar dynamic. I mean, like I said, everything that she did, I wanted to try. So a lot of the things that I ended up kind of excelling at were actually things that she drug me into. And you guys have two younger brothers, so it's not just you two. You have a full house of swimmers there to kind of support you, which is really fun, especially when you have those hard practices, just knowing that your sister and your siblings are right there with you. I know swimming is an extremely competitive and a very difficult sport, both practices and swim meets. I mean, you're swimming for hours at a time. How do you support each other emotionally and competitively?
so during like some of the toughest sets, Carrington's like, "You're not gonna let me beat you on this one, are
Oh
you?"
no.
Or like she'll like be like really like competitive. That's also like how we kind of get each other going. Like I'll encourage her and we'll just kind of like go back and forth and that just kind of brings out the best swimmers and people
Mhm.
out of us. And so that's just kind of how we get through our toughest sets.
Yeah. No, that friendly
Yeah,
competition.
obviously living in a house with three other siblings is very competitive. Like everything is a competition. Like from like trash talking who's gonna like have the fastest five for you at the dinner table to who can eat their dinner the fastest.
Yeah.
Like literally everything is a competition, but we're all really supportive of each other and each other's biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah, no, it's so important to have that healthy competition is what I like to say. I grew up in kind of the same environment with my older sister and then obviously my younger brother. And what you said, everything is a competition, is so true. I don't know if Fred told you, but me and my sister would literally put our caps on in the car, put our goggles on in the car, and we'd like run into the pool to see who would get the better lane. And now looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's kind of embarrassing. Like, why? Like you're driving next to someone on the highway and they see this two girls with swim caps on. But it's because everything was a competition and there's no way I wanted to swim in that end lane next to the wall.
Right.
I know you mentioned that Carrington, one of your idols was Stephanie growing up, and she really got you into the sport. Brinkley, who have been some of those figures in your life that have really uplifted you and people that you look up to in swimming?
I look up to Claire. That's like my most recent like idol. But like Riley Erisman, she's like one of my best friends. Had my first all-star meet with her. Like I just look up to her as a person, as a swimmer, and I just love going to like camps with her, being her roommate, swim meets, just like she's just what's gotten me to this level, I feel like.
Yeah, no, Florida swimming is so different. Just because we do have so many fast swimmers in the sport, but also like when you get to those championship meets, like Florida age group championships or senior champs, or you have those zone meets, everyone is so supportive of one another, and it's kind of like a fun opportunity to come together. You look at the psych sheet, you're like, who's going, who's going to be in my event? It's kind of like a little reunion for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
How does being sisters kind of influence your mindset on a daily basis? Do you learn from one another, or not necessarily mistakes, but races that have happened along the way?
Um, yeah, I learn from her every day. I learn something new. She'll like be brutally honest. Like
Yeah.
I learned a lot from her.
That's definitely an older sister thing. My sister was also the same way, kind of that like brutal honesty, like just very transparent. She's like, "Why are you doing that? Like, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely that older sister dynamic, which is really fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question to answer because obviously I don't know any differently. Like I've had a sister here my whole life, and so
Yeah.
I've always had somebody with me to be along for the journey. So
Yeah. No, swimming, whenever I speak about me and my siblings' kind of swimming experience, it's always that sense of community that you come back to. And having siblings in the sport and having them know exactly what you're going through is so important. And it makes you feel like you're never alone. So if you're going through a hard set or if you're going to a meet and you don't perform as well, you know that on that car ride home, you're going to have your siblings. So over the years, I know I kind of already touched on this. How has swimming together kind of shaped your communication and also your respect for one another?
Um, I don't know. I have so much respect for her. Like, even if she didn't have a good meet, but I had a good meet, she's gonna be the same. She's gonna be like like my backbone, I guess. Like, she's just always so like encouraging. Like, I remember my 10K, she was like, I'm coming. There's no way I'm not coming.
Yeah.
And like, she was there at the end of my race. I could like run up and hug her after, and like, she's just always been there for me. Even if she wasn't doing good herself, she's always been the same person for me.
Hmm.
and I'd say like we did used to swim like pretty similar events and now we're starting to like branch off and go our different ways. But like when I get to swim the 800 or when I swim the mile with her, like I don't know, I feel like extra supported just because like she's in there doing her best and I know I'm gonna like go and try to catch her, do my best. But it's always good just to have somebody along like with me, especially when it might not be like my strongest event.
Yeah, no, me and my sister, we both swam kind of the same events, and then Bobby kind of took it to a whole new level, and I was like, okay, like you can have that. Um, but also like I do find that a lot of siblings do swim similar events, and with distance swimming, it's kind of something that I think at St. Pete Aquatics we're kind of automatically drawn to for some reason. It's just innately how Coach Fred Lewis structures the practices. It's like you have to swim the 800. You may not branch up to the mile, but you're going to at least do the 800 or the 400 or the 500 short course, which is just incredible for like age group swimmers when you think about it. So, kind of
Yes.
moving Brinkley to your open water, I would be a complete fool if I did not mention your most recent performance. I know I had the opportunity to, well, I don't want to say opportunity, I wasn't there in person, but I work from home. So I had the live stream on one of my screens and I had like my email browser open on the other. And I was just like, watching like back and forth and then all of a sudden I look over and like she was winning and I was just like, okay, no more work for right now. So obviously your win at Open Water Nationals was a standout moment. Can you kind of take us back into your mindset during that race? Did you have any strategies that you went into it with, and how did you stay composed with such a long race?
So going in, I was like, I had no expectations for myself, which I think helped. I was like, I mean, it would be amazing if I placed top eight and got a medal, but no real expectations. And like, since I've never swam a 10K, I was like, I don't know what to expect. So I texted a couple friends that swim open water, and they're like, the most important thing is to like stay calm. Like you're gonna get knocked around, but you have to stay calm and like make all your feeds. So that was like important, was to stay calm, and that's kind of how I kept myself going. And then just like making sure I like got all my feeds no matter what happened was like
Yeah.
my biggest things going in.
No, open water is such a different environment than pool swimming. Like, it's amazing people think just because you're a distance swimmer or you're a swimmer that you can just be thrown into like a lake or an ocean and swim well. But there's so many like tactical things that go into it, like feeding. If you mention that to someone who's only done pool swimming, they're like, feeding? Like, why do I need to eat while I'm swimming? But you're swimming for 2 hours straight. And so, like, you tape your cap to your forehead, like, you just lather on sunscreen. Like, it's almost like a completely different world.
It is.
And so, like, your first 10K to, like, be up against some of those top names and establish yourself in that is just absolutely incredible. So, what were some specific points that you remember during the race where you had to make some kind of tough calls on if you wanted to draft back a little bit or really surge forward?
So on like the first buoy, like my head got thrown under.
Oh
So it like
no.
shook me up for a little bit. So I just decided to like just like kind of go back and just get away from that person, because it's what I remember from being in Italy. It's like if they're aggressive, just move away, like do your best to move away.
Mhm.
So I moved away, and then somehow I got right behind her and my goggles got kicked off. So I just like floated on my back like and put them back on. And the other like biggest part I remember from the race was like everyone didn't feed on the fourth lap except for Claire. And I remembered going in, I was like, I'm gonna feed when Claire feeds,
Mhm.
because I know she's gonna feed all four laps or all four of the five. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go feed. So I went and fed, and that I think was the most important thing, because no one else fed. I did lose a little bit of ground, but feeding was like important to like get your energy up for that last lap.
No, absolutely. And like I said, that's something that a lot of people don't realize is if you don't feed strategically or at least kind of throughout the race when your body needs it, your energy levels are going to completely deplete on that last lap because you don't have the carbs in you or the energy levels to kind of surge ahead like you did. And also, I like can vividly remember going back to one of my first open water races. Like I got kicked in the face and I was just so astounded that that happens in open water. I was like, why would someone kick me? We're just swimming. So it is just like such a different environment and it is a lot more aggressive than I think a lot of people realize that are just watching it on the live stream because you're going through things that you don't see. like I didn't see you get kicked. Like you don't see like your head being shoved under a buoy, but like that stuff happens, which is just insane.
Yeah.
Um, and so like now you're going off to represent Team USA in Singapore, which is absolutely incredible. Is there anything special that you're doing to prepare here before you head out?
I'm just kind of like preparing myself mentally that like I'm gonna be representing Team USA.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be against the world's best and like I just have to go out, have fun, and do my best representing Team USA.
No, absolutely. Like putting too much pressure on yourself is just not the way to go. Just like soaking it all in and having a fun experience. Like all the hard work has already been put in. So I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
You were just at the OTC with all of the other junior team members. How has that experience been being on the junior national team and sharing those opportunities with other swimmers around the country?
It's like amazing. Like I don't know how to describe it, just being around like the next generation of the best
Hmm.
it's just like crazy to think like some of us like if you look around the room will be Olympians maybe at 2028 like probably 32 like you just never know and so like just being around the world's best juniors just shows you like you have to step up if you want to still compete at that bar and it just like kind of raises the bar for your like competition and everything.
Yeah, no, everyone is so fast. Like, I can't believe how fast the sport has gotten in all events. Like, looking at NCAAs and nationals and seeing the times that it takes to make finals, I'm like, whew, that's crazy. Carrington, you have announced that you're committed to swim at the University of Kentucky, which is a huge accomplishment. I am a little bit biased. I was born in Kentucky and my mom went to the University of Kentucky, so I'm super excited for you and I know that you're gonna love it. Um, what stood out to you during the recruiting process that helped you kind of solidify your decision in UK?
Well, truly, there were like so many different factors, but it was really just a gut feeling at the end. It was a really hard decision to make, because you talk to these coaches for months and you develop such good relationships with them over the phone, and then like fortunate enough to meet some of them in person on your visits as well. So for me, it was really just a gut feeling. And a lot of people told me that I would just know like when I found my home, but I'm one of the most indecisive people, so I didn't think that was going to happen. But after I came back from that visit, I knew that was where I wanted to be.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep like saying this term like people don't understand, but like I really don't think people understand how stressful it is. I mean, you're still in school, you're still training, and then you have this pressure to choose where you want to swim for the next 4 years, but not only swim, but where you want to get your education. And there's so many moving parts to it. I was very similar where I took all of my visits. I was super indecisive. But at the end of the day, you do kind of have that feeling of, oh, this is where I want to go. And so it's a super exciting time, but also so stressful navigating the waters. Um, and so, how did you navigate staying focused kind of with those long-term goals in school and in the water while navigating the recruiting process?
Well, I'm definitely glad that it happens over the summer. That gives us some more time, but still with doubles on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays.
Yeah.
That did make things really challenging to still be able to balance my training and focus on that, and then also on this because this needed to be done quickly.
Mhm.
And I couldn't really just brush it off. Um, I don't
Yeah.
really know what else to say.
No, yeah. I mean, you have a good head on your shoulders. You can tell just from talking to you that it is difficult to navigate the waters, but also if you know what needs to be done and you put your priorities and you have them straight, it kind of makes it a little bit easier. And so, do you have any advice for swimmers who may be going through that process right now?
Well, I know for like Florida, it definitely makes things a lot more challenging, having our high school season in the fall because that's when the majority of the visits are normally taken, and
Hmm.
that's when they encourage you to take them. So I had to kind of focus on my goals for high school season, and I wasn't really willing to give up that training. So I had to be pretty selective with where I took trips and how many weekends I was gone. Coach Fred helped me narrow that down and just remind me that like I still had bigger goals
Mhm.
to complete this like fall and into the winter training. So I tried to really manage my time well and ask a lot of questions. That's probably my biggest piece of advice. Like, don't be afraid. That's what the coaches, that's what the teammates are there for.
Mhm.
Ask a lot of questions, bombard them with your questions because they do have answers for them, and
Yeah.
it'll help you narrow that process down a lot quicker.
No, absolutely. I mean, information is key, and you never want to leave a place wishing you would have asked something. And it's a two-way street with recruiting. Like, they are also trying to find a person that fits in with their culture and within their training just as much as you are trying to find a place where you fit in. So, just knowing that and building those relationships throughout the process is huge. I know saying no to coaches was something that was so difficult for me because, like you said, you build those relationships and you're like, I love you, but it may not be the right fit for me. But also understanding that those are calls that need to happen. Like they hear no on a regular basis, and you're not hurting their feelings. It's just what needs to happen for your swimming career. Now, kind of moving on into navigating some waters that have happened. So, you've both gone through the sport in a very difficult time. You know, we had COVID that happened. I know you guys trained kind of open water there, getting away from the lane requirements at North Shore Aquatics. And you also have the new NIL process and the recruiting changes, just to name a few of the things that have happened in the past, like 2 or 3 years. How have some of these events kind of changed your way of training or your approach to swimming?
So COVID-19 is the only one that has affected me so far,
Mhm.
but I was so young. I feel like that I like didn't process it, but I was like missing the pool so much. Like I would do the most random exercises to like stay in shape.
Yeah.
Um, and just like I just remember missing the pool and like when I could come back, like I remember seeing Bobby there when I first came back and I was just so excited to come back.
Yeah.
And I really think just as a whole, it didn't set us back because everyone was going through it. So we were all doing it together and it just kind of I think brought our whole team closer and just like everyone as a whole.
Hmm.
And I would say the recruiting changes are obviously very devastating. I mean, it's affected so many different people, and it's really hard to see some of these cuts happening, but
Yeah.
really just kind of like makes me look forward and just know that I need to get back to work because, I'm still excited to compete at that next level.
Yeah. No, like I said, like you guys have had to navigate some really hard things from a young age, and you may not really remember the impact that it has, but I know my generation looks down on your I say generation like I'm like 50 years old. But like we do admire your resiliency and your strength and the ability to stay motivated through those times because I know I didn't even experience those when I swam, and there were moments where I was questioning if I still wanted to be in the sport just because it's so difficult. And so you guys obviously are pros at balancing academics with friendships and also your personal growth that happens throughout high school. What strategies or routines have kind of helped you manage those pressures?
Um, just like keeping your main focus, like know what that is. Friends are gonna like want to go out and hang out, but if your social battery's like done, you have to realize like you what you're doing it for. Like you need to focus on yourself and just keep your priorities straight is
Mhm.
like my biggest thing. Like if I focused on swimming and have a meet coming up, but my friends want to hang out, I have to know which one's more important to me. And that's just kind of how I balance everything.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely like challenging to have so many different opportunities to do different things. Like she said, hanging out with friends, these meets, and also like making sure you're still on top of your academics. But for me, kind of just like reminding myself that I'm gonna have to give things up and like some things are gonna have to suffer for other things to move forward. So that would be my biggest.
Yeah. And your friends that are truly your friends, like they're going to understand that. And I know when I swam, pretty much 99% of my friends also swam. So it makes saying no a little bit easier because they were also taking a nap when I wanted to take a nap. So just having people in your life that kind of align with your values helps a ton. And also having your sister next to you. Because even if you're bored, someone is sitting on the couch right there with you. Were there any moments like during your swimming? I don't want to say swimming career because it's not like you guys are just getting started in the sport, which is super exciting. But have there been any moments where you've had like self-doubt kind of creep in or overtraining, and how did you navigate those days?
So like the hardest time for me so far has been like not getting my trials cut, and like I remember I was devastated because I was so close and I just kept trying and trying and
Mhm.
I didn't get it in time. But I think that was really big in my swimming like so far because it kind of showed me like just because I didn't get a cut doesn't mean my swimming career is over.
Yeah.
And like it like kind of just shows like it kind of just made me work harder, I feel like, to show like I want that and like I'm not gonna let myself get disappointed like that again. So I'm gonna just keep working harder and harder. So I think it just like motivated me like now looking back, even
hmm
though I was so upset then, just looking back, I think it was a big motivator.
Yeah.
And for me, like I've always been on like a pretty steady progression. So I wasn't great when I was younger. And so like I kind of was just always working up. So I feel like that's been good in a way for me to, but sometimes it is like hard when other people are like soaring. And, I feel like I'm still like taking my time to get there. But again, I feel like it really pushes you to be your best and work harder than you ever have.
Yeah. If there's anything like looking back on my swimming career, like I've kind of gone through not everything, but like a lot of different moments that could have defined who I was or could have shaped the outcome of my swimming career. But you look back on it and it is truly such a journey. And it is difficult when you have a swim where you were having these high expectations and you may have missed a cut by like a tenth or a couple hundredths of a second, or you're at a championship meet and you're supposed to drop loads of times and you see everyone else dropping loads of times. But it's just remembering that everyone is on their own path and you will have those breakout moments. I know me and my sister kind of had a similar dynamic with you guys. She was consistently just like dropping time, dropping time, dropping time. And then, she was second place at SEC's her junior year at UF. So, I mean, the journey is everything. And like looking back on those moments, you're going to be so proud of yourself for not giving up or not getting too hard on yourself. How do you guys kind of stay grounded when balancing expectations from coaches and teachers and also, parents? You grow up in such a strong swimming environment. Both of your younger brothers swim, you both swim, you're constantly around the pool. So, how do you kind of handle those external pressures?
My parents, like my mom and my dad, have just kind of like always like kept my head straight, I guess. Like they've just kind of like guided me and just like have helped me out in that
Mhm.
space, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely having parents that went through the same sport is definitely something that like I'm so grateful for because they've gone through some of the same things that I'm going through. They know how to like help us or kind of guide us to the best of their abilities or what they remember doing. And then really just having Coach Fred, like he's gonna be honest with you, he's not gonna lie to you. So that's been good for me and I know probably really good for some of the other kids on the team as well to kind of just keep you moving forward and not to look back.
Yeah, Fred is a funny guy. Has he thrown any chicken wings at you guys?
Oh,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
that was actually pretty recently.
No, he used to pour coffee like in my snorkel because I hated coffee. So morning practice, he would like have his mug and pour it in. But he is like such a strong coach and he's been around the block so many times with so many different athletes and has such a success story with his program. And as you said, having someone that shoots it straight, you're going to work hard, but he is going to support you. And if he's listening to this, like he cares so much. Like you can tell he puts on this brave face, but he truly, truly cares about each and every one of you guys. So kind of looking ahead and some reflections and advice. What are your biggest goals kind of as you approach this next season, both individually and maybe perhaps together as sisters?
My goal is just to keep having fun, like always putting a smile on it and just being the best version of myself.
Mhm.
in the pool and outside and just always having fun and putting a smile on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really excited to just keep moving forward as well. And I know this year, as far as high school season, we're going to go out and do our very best. We have a really good high school team this year. So, kind of just creating that culture and creating that bond as my last year. And we have some really good freshmen coming in. So,
Mhm.
kind of just setting that team culture straight and getting everybody ready to do their very best for the team this summer.
Yeah, it's so fun to be like not necessarily like at the top because there's no like hierarchy, but being like the senior, the ones that the freshmen look up to, like you have so much advice to give them, and then you're gonna go off to Kentucky and you're gonna be looking up at the seniors and be the one asking for advice. So it is truly like such a cyclical moment. And high school season is so fun. Like it's a break from, I don't want to say break, but it's more like relaxed and there's a lot more kind of diversity when it comes to times and people that are just learning how to swim and competing in it. So I don't know. I had so much fun with high school swimming. I was terrible at it, but it was a lot of fun. What advice would you offer to young swimmers who are watching this and look up to both of you, especially swimmers who may be siblings just starting out in the sport?
I would say always smile. Like that's my thing is like before I go out for a race or like behind the blocks, like I'm always gonna smile. And I think that just makes everything so much lighter. It takes off the pressure and just like it's so fun just to smile and like just having fun. Like if you're not having fun, you're not gonna succeed. So just have so much fun and just take it one step at a time.
Mhm.
So I would say that my biggest piece of advice is that there's always somebody going through the same thing as you, whether they're your sister, whether they're your sibling, your teammate from another state, a friend that maybe not swimming. There's always somebody going through a similar situation, and you guys can be there to guide yourselves through it. And also not to let the nerves get the best of you because we're all experiencing them. And if you let them get the best of you, you're not going to get to showcase your best abilities.
Absolutely. I mean, swimming is an individual sport, but it is so community based. And it's so important to have that support system around you. And like you said, know that no matter what you're going through, you are never alone. Like someone somewhere is going through the same thing. And being able to lean on each other and open up and express yourselves is so important. Nerves for me were huge. I would always get so nervous before each race, but finding something that works for you. I know I used to always listen to music and I'd be the one that had to smile and like dance around, otherwise I'd get too in my head. Do you have anything like pre-race rituals that you guys do before you swim?
Like I said, I always just smile. Like I always smile. And then I kind of just like to talk to people
Mhm.
just because I'm a very like social person. So just talking to people always like takes that nerve off for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do music. That's something that doesn't work for me.
Oh,
So kind
really?
of just like sitting there, like taking in the environment around me and talking to other people.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that. Bobby doesn't listen to music like before his races, and I always said I was like that's so odd to me. Like you're just soaking it in, but it does it I mean it works for some people and like you said like everyone has something different that they experience. We used to always on my college team like say smiles for miles because the mile was always like the distance session on Sunday. So like just hearing about how uh you have to smile before your race kind of brings me back and it's really funny.
Yeah,
Um
like Bobby, when he was here over winter break, we like, I don't even remember. We just like started like asking him a bunch of different
I
random
love that.
questions because he was like talking about the most boring things. So we had to like spruce it up a little bit. And when we asked him like what he listens to, he told us nothing. And then we were like, you have to listen to something, like give us an answer. And he told us white noise.
He's the thing is like he's not lying either. Like if you get in a car with him, like he doesn't have a playlist going, like there's no music. And I'm like, "What are you thinking about?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I was like, "That seems very peaceful. My mind goes like a mile a minute."
Right?
No, I also asked him one time, he's like, "I don't understand why people would pay money to go see a concert." I'm like, "I like concerts. What do you mean? Like I
What?
paid money to go see concerts." So even like within families, like everyone has those different dynamics, but Yeah, when he comes down, definitely keep asking him questions. Try to find like the most random or like weird questions you can find. I'll give you a list actually, and you
Okay.
can let me know what he says.
All right.
When you guys reflect on your swimming journey so far, how has swimming kind of shaped you as people and not just as an athlete?
It shaped me in the sense like no matter how hard things get, I can always like push through. I can always like achieve what I want to achieve and just always like have an open mind and just keeping that mindset open to being able to stay thinking quick on your feet and just adaptable, I think has really helped.
Yeah.
And I'd say like with swimming, you learn that there is no really like routine. You can't be set on a routine because something's gonna go wrong in a race, before a race, at a meet, during practice. It's never gonna be perfect. So just being able to adapt to something quickly can be applied to more than just in the pool,
Yeah.
for school and other things like that.
Yeah, I mean, swimming teaches you so much. I mean, you have so many characteristics, time management, motivation, teamwork, that goes well beyond the pool. And, colleges and employers and coaches, they know that. And so a lot of times, this is for later on down the line. But when you're looking for jobs, like they look at that and those skills that you put on your resume are truly life-changing and so impactful. So, I just wanted to thank you guys again for kind of taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with me about your swimming journey, life as sisters, and your college commitment, and also your most recent 10K win. So I wish you guys absolutely nothing but the best of luck, and I know that I will see you on the pool deck soon.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
having us.
Yeah.
Yes, it was so fun.
Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode just as much as I did. I know I mentioned I have known Carrington and Brinkleigh since before they could talk. So it really was a full circle moment for me, and it's been so fun watching them progress and grow throughout this sport. As always, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, family members, anyone involved in the swimming community. This podcast would not be possible without the International Swim Coaches Association, ISCA, and also Swimming World Magazine. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will catch you all next time.